down Citizens for Laughs. He had an old lady named Petula, packed an automatic 45 gun. They had just come up from California where they shot 6 cops for fun.
Jake thought it was the best there was down the interstate 8 roar, till the day he tangled with the county sheriff. They all called 104, 104.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
This is Night Dreams Talk Radio Network News. I'm James Creechbaum. Okaiku, the haunted doll that grows real human hair. When Aikichi returned home, he presented the doll to his sister, and it quickly became her consistent companion. If the doll was not in Okiku's possession, it was always nearby and was never out of her sight. The little girl loved the doll so much she named it after herself. Now tragedy struck, and the Suzuki family when Akaku became ill and passed away from a high fever at the age of 3. As time passed, the shoulder-length hair on the doll began to grow, eventually reaching 10 inches in length. The Suzuki family believed that the spirit of Akaku was in the doll. The doll was then taken to a temple where it remains to this day. Reportedly, the monks that care for the doll occasionally trim the still growing hair to its original shoulder length. Museum haunted by ghosts of Agatha Christie. Staff members at a museum in Devon, England, maintain that the building is haunted by a familiar specter. Paranormal activity in the building has often been linked to its association with her, especially given that it is not uncommon for books to fly off the shelves seemingly on their own accord. Every time books fly off the shelves, it's always Agatha Christie books, said a gift shop manager. It has happened so many times. The most recent was just last Thursday. The Morguar sightings of a prehistoric water reptile in Cornwall. 2 people reported seeing a massive creature with a humped back, a long bristled neck, and a head topped with stumpy horns. They said it dove beneath the surface and then reappeared with an eel hanging from its mouth. It looked like an elephant waving its trunk, but the trunk was a long neck with a small head on the end, like a snake's head. It had humps on the back, which moved in a funny way. The color was black and very dark brown, and the skin seemed to be like a sea lion's. Possible dinosaur DNA discovered, preserved in fossils. The international team of Chinese and U.S. paleontologists reported their findings in the journal National Science Review. In the article, the scientists say they discovered possible cell nuclei and chromosomes preserved in the cartilage of a baby duck-billed dinosaurs. Dating back approximately 75 million years, in the paper the team says they found microstructures consistent with nuclei and chromosomes in cells within calcified cartilage. Testing for the presence of DNA indicated that some of the original DNA may have been preserved. The standing scientific consensus is that DNA can last a maximum of 1 million years. So finding 75 million year old dino DNA, it would be, as they say, a big find. Virginia Military Institute, Ghosts, Shadows, and Phantoms. Virginia Military Institute, or VMI, has a past steeped in tradition and ghost cadets encounters with some spirits. They have spanned several generations. Since its opening, VMI has maintained 24-hour century of the school. In a recent interview, alumnus recalled how he had seen the shadow of a hanged man on the exterior wall of one of the structures while walking his rounds of guard duty. Dozens of other cadets shared similar encounters with the shadow. All tell of looking at it for a few seconds, barely long enough to process what they've seen, when the shadow simply just disappears. VMI students and alumni have a reputation for bravery, honesty, and good judgment. These qualities only add another layer of validation to the rumors of paranormal activity at the historic college. A documentary to explore Rendlesham incident. Codename Rendlesham will assess that the famous UFO incident has become something of a legend. The new documentary is the latest to explore the ongoing mystery behind the UK's best-known UFO case. The strangeness began on December 26, 1980, when U.S. servicemen stationed at the RAF Woodbridge witnessed an unknown object descending into the woods. Upon investigating, they encountered a glowing metallic object which seemed to move through the trees as they approached. When they returned to the next day, they found 3 triangular impressions in the ground at the same spot. On December 28th, the object appeared a second time, prompting Deputy Base Commander Colonel Charles Holt and a group of servicemen to venture out into the woods to investigate. What they saw that night would go on to haunt them for the rest of their lives. If you have a news story you want us to share here on Night Dreams Talk Radio, contact us at jamesnightdreamstalkradionews@gmail.com.
You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark with our host, Gary Anderson.
And we are back with our great guests. We got Christopher Berry. He wrote a bunch of books, like time travel books and what if books, that if something different, conspiracy was involved. I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay, Doctor Who. I got a funny feeling you're a Doctor Who fan.
I am. I'm a big Doctor Who fan. Yeah.
What do you think of them going to a female doctor after all these years? After all these doctors?
Mm-hmm. I think it's wonderful. I really, really love Jodie Whittaker's interpretation of the role. I wouldn't say she's my favourite Doctor. I think my favourite Doctor is still Matt Smith, just because I think he absolutely nailed he really nailed the comedy of the Doctor, but I think he did the drama really well as well. I mean, I know most people's favourite is David Tennant, but I liked David Tennant a lot, but I thought his acting was a bit forced at times. I think when he did the comedy, it was all a little bit cheesy and a bit forced, and then when he did the drama, he tended to resort to shouting a lot, and it just wasn't very natural, I don't think, whereas Matt Smith was just really natural. But Jodie Whittaker I just think, particularly in this last season, she's had some really, really strong episodes, some really strong moments, and yeah, I think she's really, really good in the role. There have been some problems, I think, this last couple of seasons. I think there have been some weak episodes, but then I think there were problems with the previous showrunners era, the Stephen Moffat era, which for me got far, far too complicated, far too philosophical. Everything had to have a deeper meaning to it, and it just got a little bit ridiculous in the end. Whereas I think we've gone a little bit back to basics with the stories since we've had the new Doctor. Why? What's your feeling about the change?
I have watched every rerun. I mean, from the very beginning to the end. I've never seen a series that could last this long. But I will tell you, in the last probably 6 years, they have drastically improved it. I mean, you have to be honest. When it first came out, they were on a very low budget making it.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah. I can barely. Well, I don't really watch any of the old Doctor Who. I used to when I was younger, watched some of mainly the Dalek episodes, actually, because I was obsessed with the Daleks. But yeah, they're badly made just because they didn't have any money, and they've dated really, really badly. So I only watch the revived series now, really. And the budget's much better, and the budget's gotten better since the revived series started as well. So the effects and stuff are really, really good now.
Oh yeah, that's what was bad. It was the effects, the first probably 15 years of it. But now we're a year behind what we're seeing here in the United States. Now, is it going to continue and be renewed for next year? Or I heard talk it might not be. I heard talk it could be. I don't know.
I believe it. Yeah, they're filming another season now, I believe. Jodie Whittaker's sticking around for a third season. I'm hoping she sticks around for longer than that as well, because so far all of the new Doctors, apart from Christopher Eccleston, who only did one season, all of the new Doctors after him have all been that they've all done 3 seasons and then gone, and maybe a few special episodes in between them. And the reason I want Jodie Whittaker to stick around for longer is because, one, she's the first female Doctor, so she needs to put her stamp on it for longer, I think. Unless we're going to have, and I hope we do, unless we have another female Doctor after her, then I hope she's around for longer if we then go back to another guy. But also, she's doing 10 episodes a season, which I think is probably down to budget cuts. We used to get 13 episodes a season way back when David Tennant was on it. And then they reduced it to 12 episodes with Peter Capaldi, and now we're only getting 10 episodes. So that's a bit of a shame. So for that reason, I hope she stays on for a full season as well.
Yeah, I have to be honest. It's one of my favorite shows. I mean, you get hooked onto it. Yeah. It's just, never ending, It's just, I love watching it.
Yeah.
Especially the dialogues.
Again, go on. What you said?
I said the dialects. They're here to conquer always.
Yeah. It's really, really good. It's very inventive, and it is another inspiration for me for Million Eyes, really, because the Doctor and her companions are often travelling back to important points in history. I suppose mostly British history, but they do visit other countries as well and see some of their history. And then often what happens is that there's normally aliens present somewhere, impacting events somehow, and the Doctor has to stop them from changing history, or sometimes whatever the Doctor does ends up causing the event that we know already happened. So that's where the whole predestination paradox comes in. So have you seen the Fires of Pompeii episode? It's a David Tennant episode from quite a few.
I did. Yeah,
yeah. I mean that was brilliant because that was according to the show, the Doctor was responsible for the eruption of Vesuvius, and he did that because the what were they called, the pyroviles or those rock aliens were otherwise going to destroy the whole planet, I think, so the Doctor it was damage control, really. The Doctor could either allow them to destroy the whole planet, or he could blow up Vesuvius because I think they had like a secret base underneath Vesuvius or something, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, they did.
And I love that kind of Doctor Who explaining a historical event that we all thought we knew what had happened, and now we know it was all to do with